Welcome back to PC Hoops with Coach Kim English. We are now joined by Kevin McNamara of WPRO and KMAC. That is it for the regular season. A loss by 8 points, but they played better than the previous 4 losses. Yeah,
it was good to see them show an awful lot of fight in that Xavier game. Xavier's good. Xavier's playing as well as anyone in the league not named St. John's, and watch out for them at the Big East tournament. And Providence played them tough. All season long, they've hung in with an awful lot of good teams. They haven't beaten any of them, which I'm sure is very frustrating to the players. And, now they go to New York and see what can happen.
No doubt. And anything can happen. We've seen it many, many times before. This matchup with Butler on Wednesday at 4 p.m. What's your initial takeaways from the matchup, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think they're 2 evenly matched teams. We certainly saw that a long time ago, early January. They stuck it to Butler pretty good. They shot the ball great, played one of their better home games. Then they go out to Hinkle Fieldhouse. They were banged up at the time, and that game came down to the last minute. I expect a similar game at the Garden. Very competitive. It's really all about keeping Telfort and Brooks from Butler under wraps. And Providence has been pretty clear. Bensley Joseph, Jaden Pierre, and now Corey Floyd. Those 3 guys handle the ball most of the time. When they lose the ball with turnovers, can't get to the free throw line, Providence is shaky. When they all play well, I think they can win that game.
No doubt. And now we got a couple freshmen honored this past week, Ryan Neal and Osman Owunse. A credit to Kim's staff for bringing in guys like that have immediately made an impact.
Yeah, and good to see them rewarded for sure. It's tough to be a freshman in college basketball right now. College basketball, everyone wants to be a transfer. Teams are old, filled with seniors and juniors. To make a mark as a freshman. And, Osman, be honest with you, I had seen him. I knew that he would be good. He's a little better than I thought, so it's a great trend line. Ryan Mila was going to be a redshirt. This is a real surprise, a real pleasant surprise for the Friars for sure. 2 guys certainly they want to retain and build around.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's a building block for sure, because some teams don't really know which foundation to work with, especially in an age of the transfer portal when anyone could be gone. We heard Dan Hurley talked on 60 Minutes. 50% of his roster, you're talking about the UConn Huskies, is thinking about, if not already knowing, they're going to transfer.
Yeah, and I think that was probably a little hyperbole from our friend Dan Hurley, but his point is well taken. All of these teams, Friars included, they are going to lose some guys they'd like to retain and bring in more transfers. This is really what the sport is built around.
No doubt. So the first thing that you're looking for Providence, you're building around these 2 young guys and some other pieces. What do you need to have?
Well, we need to find out what the deal is with Bryce Hawkins.
Right.
Okay. Again, they're freshmen. Great. They have 2 freshmen coming in they're excited about. Great. You're not going to win with those young guys. You got to have the old guys. You got to have experienced veterans. I think Providence needs to bring in a guard. They need to bring in a wing scorer. They need to bring in a forward who can score. If it's Bryce Hawkins, even better. We know what he is. But he's not going to be the only number one guy that they bring in. I think they're going to target another number 1 guy. I'll put it this way. If I was the GM, that's what I'd be doing. And that's basically what they are. That they have GMs running these teams. They might be called assistant coaches. But they've been looking around college basketball, other teams, for transfers, kids who may be in that portal. And, well, it's only 2 weeks. That portal opens, I think it's about March 25th.
Yeah, it's a really, really important few weeks coming up for this program. How much do you think that they'll hit in the portal, and do you think that the players would want to come to Friartown?
Well, sure. This is an attractive place. Kim is a young, active coach. They have some assistant coaches who have been, they were at Tennessee a couple of years ago. George Mason. There's a lot of contacts. This staff has a lot of contacts, coast-to-coast contacts. And just look at the kids who they brought in this past year. Wesley Cardette was from Florida and Chicago. Jabri was from the University of Georgia. It's a far-ranging college basketball landscape. They have to find the right guys. It's not easy. Whether you're at Connecticut, Providence, Kentucky, Kansas, you have hits, you have misses. Providence needs some hits to be able to take a pretty big jump to get back into the mix for next season.
Absolutely, and you can only think, if they had Bryce right now, Bensley Joseph would be such a great compliment. So he was a hit in the portal for sure.
Absolutely. They had 4 kids in the portal. Bensley Joseph basically played as about what I thought he would play. The combination of him and Jaden Pierre, I thought would be a little more productive. But boy, they could have used 1 more ball handler, because those guys are playing 35, 38, 40 minutes in an awful lot of games. It's a lot to put on the shoulders of those 2 guys. That said, Wednesday, 4 o'clock at Madison Square Garden. If those guys play 40 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, it's the biggest game of the year coming up right now. Essentially, I mean, looking forward. Well, the next game's always the biggest.
This is why these kids come to Providence. There's a lot of reasons, but to play in the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden, if it's not 1, it's 1A. It's right there. And, would they like to be the number 1 seed, the number 4 seed, have a bye like they did last? Absolutely. That's not the case. They're going to do it the hard way. If they win, they have the number 1 seed, St. John's. Guess what? They would sign up for that tomorrow, every single day, because the opportunity to play St. John's at MSG, noon, national TV, sellout crowd, that's why you come to Providence.
100%. That's a great way of putting it. Now, in this tournament, we're going to see St. John's as the 1 seed for the first time in a very long time.
40 years.
It's unbelievable.
You're not even 40 years old.
I'm not. It's take down 14 years to that, and that's what you got. How much do you think that'll change the energy inside that building when you have a team, it's their home court, and they have the number 1 seed?
Yeah, I think it'll change the energy a lot, especially as the tournament goes on. The first day that they play on Thursday is always a great day because there's pockets of every fandom out there, right? And there's only so many tickets to St. John's people can get, the New Yorkers can get. That said, if Butler loses, Seton Hall loses, Providence loses, their tickets become available. St. John's people are going to be grabbing those tickets, I can guarantee you that. And again, I think we've said this on the show a couple of weeks. I expect St. John's to be in Providence next week for the NCAA tournament. So if you know any Red Storm fans, they'll be knocking on your door soon.